Welcome back everybody to another of my aviation history videos, and this is episode 7 of my RCAF history series. So in this video we're going to be talking about the history of 404 Squadron, and this was the first 400 series squadron to be formed for coastal patrol. But before we get too far into that, my name is Sean and this is Sean's Aviation. So 404 Squadron was formed on April 15th of 1941 at Thorney Island as a coastal fighter unit under 16 Group and was equipped with the Bristol Blenheim Mark IV and were assigned the squadron code EE. They spent the next 5 months training and working up for combat missions. They did not stay long at Thorney Island as they moved on to Castletown in Scotland on June 20th and moved over to 18 Group, spending most of the war flying from these northern airfields. On July 27th, they moved to Skitton, and then on October 8th, moved again to Dice. Their first operational mission took place on September 22nd when they took part in a convoy escort. On December 3rd, the unit moved to Sumburgh in the Shetland Islands. It was while they were based here, on December 18th, that the unit scored its first confirmed kill when Wing Commander Woodruff, flying Blenheim Z5753, coded EET, shot down a Junkers 88 about 50 miles east of the base. On March 22, 1942, the unit moved back to Dice and were there until August 6th when they rotated back to Sumburgh. Starting in September, the unit began to receive Beaufighter Mark IIFs, which were the Merlin-powered version of that aircraft, and in a now familiar pattern, they moved back to Dice on September 24th, staying there until January of 1943. On January 22nd, the unit was moved over to 19 Group and relocated to Chevanor, Devon, for what I would assume was an operational break. While there, they gave up the last of their Blenheims and in March started to receive Beaufighter Mark 11Cs. These airframes were specifically designed for coastal attack missions, but did not have the capability to carry torpedoes. On April 2nd, the unit was transferred back to 18 Group and moved back north, flying from Thames, Scotland until April 20th, when they relocated to Wick, where they were based for just over a year. While at Wick, in April, they gave up their Beaufighter Mark IIs and flew only the Mark 11s until September, when they started to receive Mark 10Cs, losing their Mark 11s in December. The Beaufighter Mark 10 was the ultimate coastal attack variant of this aircraft and had the capability of carrying torpedoes and had engines that were optimized for low-level flying. In May of 1944, the unit moved to 19 Group at Davidstow for about 2 months before being assigned to the 154 Reconnaissance Wing and based at Strubby. They took part in attacking a number of enemy convoys along the German and Dutch coasts before heading back up to Scotland on September 3rd, basing from Banff. On October 22nd, the unit moved to Dalkey and became part of the famed Dalkey Wing, comprised of 144 RAF Squadron, 404 RCAF Squadron, 455 RAAF Squadron, and 489 RNZAF Squadron, all flying Beaufighters. One can only imagine what life was like with those 4 units being based together. Sometime in January of 1945, the unit's squadron code was changed from EE to EO, but I cannot find any particular reason why this change occurred. On February 8th of 1945, the unit took part in a 45-plane raid against a convoy along the Norwegian coast that did not go as planned. The convoy included a destroyer and a number of flak ships, and a number of German fighters intercept the attack force in the narrow fjord where the convoy was located. In all the mayhem, 6 of the 404 Squadron aircraft failed to make it home, and all the units suffered major losses. This day came to be known to these units as Black Friday. In March of 1945, the unit swapped their Beaufighter Mark 10s for Mosquito Mark 6s, and they relocated to Banff on April 3rd, becoming part of the Banff Wing. Only a small number of missions were flown by 404 with the Mosquito, as the unit was disbanded on May 25th, just after the end of World War II. The final mission for the unit was flown on May 4th on an anti-shipping patrol. During World War II, the unit had flown 3,144 sorties with 12,460 operational hours. It was credited with 8 enemy aircraft shot down and 6 probable, with 10 damaged. It dropped 32 tons of bombs, 319 torpedoes, and fired 1,602 rockets.
It was credited with 4 ships sunk, 4 ships damaged, and shared credit on 37 other ships sunk. It suffered 35 aircraft lost, with 77 aircrew killed. The post-war life of 404 Squadron began on April 30th, 1951, when 404 was reactivated at RCAF Station Greenwood as a maritime reconnaissance unit. It was assigned the squadron code AF and was equipped with Lancaster Mark 10s. 404 Squadron was actually the second maritime reconnaissance unit activated, as 405 was activated just before it in March of 1950. It flew the Lancaster on sea patrols over the Atlantic Ocean and helped develop the RCIF's anti-submarine tactics. Now, the Lancaster, having been designed as a heavy bomber, was not the best aircraft for low-level anti-submarine and patrol work, and the RCAF began the process of looking for its replacement. They eventually selected the Lockheed Neptune to replace the Lancasters in the maritime patrol role, and these started to be delivered to units in March of 1955. By September, all of the Lancasters were retired, and 404 Squadron flew strictly the Neptune on operations. On July 17, 1956, the unit was redesignated as 404 Maritime Patrol Squadron. The Neptune was a good platform, but did not have the range required to cover the vast amount of coastline that Canada had, and a plan was made to develop a homegrown patrol aircraft. That aircraft became the CP-107 Argus, and these started to arrive at 404 Squadron in April of 1959. The Argus served the RCAF faithfully, and 404 used them on many international visits. All good things must come to an end, however, and by the early 1980s, the Argus was getting long in tooth, especially with the radial engines, and a plan was made to replace them. The eventual replacement was the CP-140 Aurora, which was basically a Lockheed P-3 with the sensor suite from the S-3 Viking. The first aircraft was delivered to 404 Squadron in 1980, and 404 became the operational training unit for the CP-140, training pilots, sensor operators, and mechanics for the rest of the CP-140 units in the RCAF. The unit also flew the CP-140A Arcturus, which were 3 airframes that did not have the anti-submarine sensors installed and were strictly used for pilot training as well as general sea patrol missions. All 3 of these have since been retired.
So 404 Squadron is still operating the CP-140 today out of Greenwood, having been based there for just over 70 years now. They are officially called 404 Long Range Patrol and Training Squadron and are a pivotal unit in the RCAF training structure. There's talks of replacing the CP-140 with a newer airframe, and I'm sure 404 will be spearheading the introduction of whatever airframe is selected. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, if you are interested in any of the content you see, you can access my website at www.seans-aviation.com. You can see all the latest pictures of aircraft and museums and the build logs of all of my current models and past models on that site. And if you're interested in any of this content, please click the subscribe button here on YouTube to follow more. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time.